I did this trick that I pretty much do on everything always, and I think to give the vocal a bit of a pulse to it, so in that vocal sound there's some timing, and so I use a lot of things like that where there's little quiet echoey bits of vocals and noises, and especially when you're doing like electronic music, it really puts things in a sort of zone, a way for people to connect to it without them really even understanding why they're connecting to it.
Yeah.
The main synth plugin I use for absolutely everything, that should be a real focus for people with their production, is to just be...
This episode is being supported by Tape It, the iPhone recording app made for musicians by musicians.
So I had where's the vocal? Like it's been time stretched so much, it's in an uncomfortable position, and then to sort of mask that, I must have what have I done here? I've made just a small loop of a bit of the vocal, and I think to give the vocal a bit of a pulse to it, so in that vocal sound there's some timing, so that there's you hear the voice and it's got a bit of a groove to it that you can sort of lock in and cover up a bit of the weird time stretching artifacts and everything. So I had that and a kick drum. Where's the kick drum? Yeah. This is the starting point. I had that. The arrangement I nail quite early. I'm sort of happy with the arrangement quite early on. The stuff I'm saying I'm changing all the time with when I'm playing out is the mix, the balance of things. There's this bit up here where, so you can see where I've got into a mess. There's I've got a kick drum, and then there'll have been some sort of problem with it where I've now added another channel of it won't have had enough weight, so I've added a very, very small bit of just pure sine wave sub bass underneath the kick that's almost inaudible. You can't hear it on headphones or whatever, but if you're in a big club or something, it just gives the weight just below what's going on. And then I've had another problem with the kick where it's not sort of cutting through, so I've just added this very little click to the kick drum as well, and it's the combination of all three sounds is sort of getting the effect that I want when I'm hearing it out. But I wouldn't have really understood what I need to do with that sub or adding the click or whatever I don't necessarily see those problems straight away. It's further down the line.
Yeah.
It's a way of doing things that I do quite a lot, which is to come up with a melodic idea and then just have it happen exactly the same notes but with three different instruments. So you first hear it on this more delicate sound, so you get a sort of hint of the melodic idea sitting there, and then it's just emphasized just by adding exactly the same melody but with another instrument over the top. And I recorded the sound of our ice skating, which you hear in the middle of the track in the sort of breakdown. So I've recorded it on my phone, and you can hear her sort of moving around and coming past me.
Did you process that in any way, or is that
let's look.
raw and exactly as it was, or
I've had to roll sub bass off it. I've put some compression on it because it had some mad spikes. Oh, and I've used this plugin called Microshift on it, which makes things sound more sort of three-dimensional. I think it puts a little delay on them between your two speakers. I think that's what it does. Microshift Sound Toys. So I've put that on, and that makes it just sound more stereo. It's I want the melody and the groove of it all to be sort of here, and then the ice skating and the humans and all the people and stuff are sort of echoes around in the sort of distance around you, and have that sort of subliminal effect of all right, you're really engaged with the melody and the sounds and everything, but there's an atmosphere there that makes it all, puts it in a sort of world. And so I use a lot of things like that where there's little quiet echoey bits of vocals and noises and little things happening all the time combined with everything else. I sort of learned early on that having these little bits of texture mixed in with everything put things in in a world, especially when you're doing like electronic music. It really puts things in a sort of zone that is a great device and for giving something a way for people to connect to it without them really even understanding why they're connecting to it.
Yeah. This episode is being supported by our good friends at Tape It, the iPhone app made specifically for musicians. If you, like many of our guests, use voice memos, then as far as we're concerned, switching to Tape It is an obvious choice. It's free, and there are a load of features you won't find on Apple's Voice Memos app, including the ability to record straight from your lock screen, set markers, add notes, include photos of settings, and you can easily import your old voice notes, sync to the cloud, and create shared playlists with co-writers and bandmates. So head to the link below to install the app now. And if you want even more, check out Tape It Pro and use the promo code TAPENOTES to receive a whopping 20% off. And now, back to the episode.
The bass is just done on like Omnisphere, which is the main synth plugin I use for absolutely everything. And then I've doubled it up with like a belt sound, but it's just a double to make the bass pop out a little bit more. I'll often add another instrument doing exactly the same line, but you can't really hear the bell too much. Like it's quite sort of subliminal, but without it, it's burying the bass more in the mix, So I had the harp thing, and then I did this trick that I pretty much do on everything always, which is get some sort of MIDI pattern together, and then put some sort of randomization on the velocity of the MIDI notes. So I've put the velocity and I've made it random 15% or whatever. So it's just every time the harp note hits, it's playing it a little harder, a little softer, and then that makes it a little more humanized. And then I'm asking it also to 15% of the time to pick one of the notes and play either an octave up or an octave below, and it stops the pattern being totally repetitive. You just get these little sparkles and twinkles and things. However, every time I play back this track, it's different because of the randomization. So if you listen to the version on the vinyl of the album, it will be different probably to the version that's digitally available and things like that, because every time I render it, the version I DJ is probably different, but different just in the way the little twinkles and stuff happen at different times. Like the sorts of things that I'll then go back through being like, is these little dropouts. Like you've got a moment here where everything sort of stops for a second. And you miss out a couple. I'll just delete a few kick drums here and there and things like that. That just keep making the loop sort of reset here and there. And like, it's when you've got something like this that's just a few elements, or most of my tracks, like there'll be a few elements, and you're just constantly you're doing little things here and there that just re-trigger the looping ideas in your mind, or feel like something sort of refreshing and starting again. When you hit it, like it just keeps it interesting without anything too sort of dramatic happening. The little drum fills you hear are in that this drum machine recording that is quite long, so that's got the variation in it. So this is just the drum machine, or it's just a long bit of audio, and it's me just playing on the drum machine. So I'm just opening the decay on the hi-hat all the time, like getting that sound. They've got a little bit of EQ, like there's no compressors on anything, there's no distortion, there's no effects on anything. It's just these few raw sounds, a few presets, and
do you adjust the panning? Do you EQ anything like that?
Let's look. Did I pan anything? No. Every single sound's just in the center as it was. There's nothing. Oh, maybe on that drum roll. No, that's all central as well. Yeah, it was just one of those, every now and then you'll have one that's just like, oh, this is easy. It's just all coming together.
Right.
Because the preset sound, that bass sound is very wide. So it's good that everything else is just in the middle, because then when the bass comes in, it's just super wide and sounds exciting. Like, learn those sorts of... What was the other part of the question?
The other part was What one thing could anybody do to make themselves a better producer?
Oh, to be a better... I think that thing I was talking about earlier about really focusing on the idea of arrangement and the structure of the music you're making. I think that should be a real focus for people with their production, is to just be really thinking about the song as a whole, and like, you know, what narrative's being achieved throughout the piece of music, and like what emotional moments are there, and all these things, to really give way more weight to that as being the primary sort of objective before fussing too much about like what kick drum we're going to use, and you know, what plugins are we going to use, and is everything compressed. And I think people imagine that I'm working on stuff and there's like, I get asked these questions like, what's your plugin chain on this and that and everything. Like I was showing on the sessions, like most of the stuff, there's just nothing. There's no plugins on anything. I've just chosen a sound and like, this is pretty good and it's working. And it's only when I get into like bad problems of like, oh, the kick drum's not working, I'm having to find a way to fix it. But ideally you're doing as little as possible. You know, like I pretty much never want to put a compressor on anything. Like if I have to put a compressor on something, it's to deal with a problem usually.